Previews, the May previews for books shipping mostly in July. Definitely one of the more popular episodes on CGS over the years, going all the way back to April of 2005. Episode 10 was the first time we did a previews episode.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. That's a long time ago.
Well, let's do it this way. Somebody start, pick one of your recommendations, and whatever company that is, if the rest of us have recommendations for that company, we'll join in then as well.
So from Image, there's a trade paperback of Space Mullet.
Yes.
Which I never even heard of before, but now I'm like, I gotta get on this train.
Daniel Warren Johnson.
Yeah, it just looks crazy and fun, and everybody's talking about his comics, and so I want to check that out.
This was a webcomic that he's been doing since June of 2012.
Wow.
Dark Horse did put out a collection of the first 4 chapters. There are 8 chapters on his website, space.mullet.com. Reading Murder Falcon, I collected and flipped through a Black Label book he did, which was Wonder Woman Dead Earth. And then I read Transformers, which we read for one of the podcasts. And his track record is just spot on.
It's fun, right? Because until Transformers, I hadn't heard of his name. And now it's like he's becoming like this go-to person. Like if he's doing a comic, you gotta check it out. And I like that feeling. I like when you discover someone and then you're all in on like their whole journey. And like Chris Burnham recommended do a power bomb. And then
Eric Nolan Wethington?
Yes. Eric Nolan Wethington then said, "Oh, Brian, you got to read it. It's amazing. Like you'll definitely like it." And so I was like, okay, yeah, that's good enough for me. Those 2 recommendations, I'm done. So,
well, while we're in Image, I saw that Saga is coming back with issue 67. Loved the series when it came out. Ended on a tremendous cliffhanger with, I think, like issue 55. Went on a hiatus, came back. I have all the new issues, but now it's back again. So, because I want to go back from the beginning. I mean, I have an idea of what happened I just want to read it all over again because it's so good. Brian K. Vaughan, Fiona Staples, just amazing. So I'm happy to see it coming back. And speaking of other things coming back, Witchblade coming back from Image. Because this is something which, through the podcast, we got, I think Philip, when he was at Top Cow, got us like the very first $5 Witchblade trade with Ron Mars. I read that. I loved that. Went on with the rest of the series and with the artifacts. Witchblade looks really intriguing. Marguerite Bennett with the story. Art by Giuseppe Cafaro and Arif, oh my goodness, Prianto. They take in a different direction. It's very, very tempting. But these physical issues with $5 cover prices, just sort of have to think of really hard before I want to jump back into that again. But
I will say
good
this
stuff.
For maybe listeners that don't know, not right away, but Image Comics, their website, they do drop the first issues for free sometimes. So it's like a teaser. So you could go to their website, look up a title, and if something looks interesting, sometimes they have the first issue for free. Shane's pick for Image was Free Agents #1, and this is by Kurt Busiek, Fabian Nicieza, and Stephen Mooney. A team of young veteran survivors of a massive intergalactic war. Now they're stranded on Earth, free agents for the first time. Those are good names, Kurt Busiek, Fabian Nicieza. I can see why that would be a pick. And I don't remember if we said it at the beginning of the episode, but Shane is sick. So he's giving his recommendations here.
Doesn't have his voice.
Yes.
hard to do a podcast when you can't talk.
My Image pick was Tales of the Unnamed, the Blizzard trade paperback. This is part of the Ghost Machine universe.
Oh.
Geiger, Junkyard Dog, Junkyard Joe, Redcoat. Yeah. Was originally released in the Image's 30th anniversary anthology. It was 12 chapters, and now they're collecting it here. Jeff Johns, Andre Moody, who was the artist of another Image book called Port of Earth and Infinite Dark. set in the same world as we mentioned, as the Unnamed. That's why it says Tales of the Unnamed. At the time, I didn't know that because I actually was trying to read some of those stories in that anthology, but some of them were hit and miss, and I was like, I'll wait until they collect them. And here they are. That's what they're doing. So if you're liking all that Ghost Machine stuff, there you go. You should pick that up. Tales of the Unnamed, The Blizzard.
I just had one quick other thing to mention. So in Image, it's just in the back, and it's the ongoing series. But I started picking up Napalm Lullaby by Rick Remender and Bengal, and that's been like really fun. Issue 3 actually just came out on Wednesday. It's pretty cool, like kind of funky, weird sci-fi Rick Remender stuff. Like these. So if you've liked things that he's done before, you'll probably like this book. So just wanted to give it a little shout out.
Pants, give us a recommendation.
I'm going to go off book here.
Mm-hmm.
Humanoids. It's a book about, let me just get the exact word, Rod Serling and the birth of television. Follow Hollywood revolutionary Rod Serling's rise to fame in the golden age of television and his descent into his own personal twilight zone. I love this era of television, as I've been documented. I love Rod Serling. He's just a incredible just character in his own right. And I don't know why I didn't order it when it was in a trade a while ago, but now as a hardcover, I'm going to be picking this up. I already placed my order for it, so I'm committed to it. It's from Humanoids. It's on, let's see, look at page 362, because I need more books about television.
Let's go to Mad Cave. I don't have a page number here.
Is that the company?
Mad Cave, yep. Mad Cave publisher. The first one is Gotchaman, Galactor 1 of 4 by Steve Orlando and Kath Lobo.
Yeah, it looks like around 371. Right. Gotchaman Galactor.
I know Shane wanted that issue for Free Comic Book Day.
Oh, yeah.
And I grabbed one as well. Mad Cave is celebrating 10 years. But the other one, too, this also, Shane recommended this as well, Flash Gordon #1. He has had several revamps at different companies over the years. The reason I wanted to recommend this is because it's by Jeremy Adams and Will Conrad. Jeremy Adams was on The Flash before Dawn of DC. He is also the current writer on Green Lantern. Jeremy, to me, writes comics like you're a kid sitting on the floor with your toys coming up with the most impossible situations and just making things up and funky space vehicles and grand adventures and cliffhangers, and his comics are so exciting. So I'm really looking forward to that Flash Gordon. I hope it works.
It's page 372 and 373, and one of the retailer incentive covers is by Dan Panosian. Panosian, and it's the Flash Gordon movie characters.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. While we're in the back of the book, something that caught my eye that I couldn't believe is actually in previews, page 343, Golden Books. Oh my God, I remember these as a kid, the Golden Books. I love them. There's, again, just waves of nostalgia flowing over me when I think of that. And I've seen some of these when I work at Walmart's, and there's like Taylor Swift has a Golden Book. There's Beatles Golden Books. But there's Tom Brady, there's Audrey Hepburn, Princess Diana, Barbara Streisand. I think, well, that's just interesting for Golden Books. I mean, and then, of course, right after that, I'm sorry, on the next two pages, 344 and 345, Brian Boland, Batman, The Killing Joke, and so much more. A gallery art edition, I'm not sure how they call this, where they reproduce from the original artwork scans, full size, like the entire Killing Joke, plus so many of his other stories, like from Batman 400, Justice League of America 200. It's like, oh my, over 100 covers. It's from Graphitti. I think it's like a $225 cover price. So it's so tempting. But I think I have to pass. Well, I have to look what the prices are online. Maybe,
but
even half off is still pretty expensive.
What were you going to bring up, Brian?
Well, there's a nice hardcover solicitation for a Cursed Pirate Girl that's two of Jeremy's. It was like an annual and some special or something that are combined into the hardcover. All the Cursed Pirate Girl stuff is incredible. And when you look at it and you realize that he drew it at actual size, he doesn't draw it on big paper, and he uses a brush, he doesn't use a pen, and he has all these teeny tiny marks. It's like a mind numbing accomplishment. So,
That's page 70,
oh,
76
go
and
ahead.
77 in the Boom Studios Archaea section.
So that definitely caught my eye. And then Conan, I think issue 13 is solicited, and that starts like a new story arc. And I've seen the Conan in the store, and it's beautiful. And jumping on point is always a nice thing.
By the way, that Conan is Jim Zub and Doug Braithwaite.
Yeah.
Conan number 13 from Titan. That's on page 134. Hmm.
Nothing that caught my eye from Dynamite, if I can find it here. I think it's on page 100 and one through like 105. The Powerpuff Girls
Yeah.
#1. Written by Kelly Thompson with art by Paulina Ganuccio. I'm hoping I'm not mispronouncing her name. I love the TV show from the Cartoon Network. I think I might have one or two issues of the comic somewhere in the house here. Mojo Jojo, just great stuff. So good to see that getting a relaunch.
All right, let's go to Marvel. Let's do a big one. The first one, I can't believe that this creative team is doing this. Aliens versus Avengers 1 of 4
Dude.
by Jonathan Hickman and Esad Ribic. I gotta read it.
Yeah. Right? How do you not read that book?
Well, I mean, I've never seen the movie Aliens.
Doesn't even matter.
Don't
You've never
matter.
seen any of the Aliens movies?
Nope,
Are you a horror guy at all or no?
not at all.
Oh, there you
Not at
go.
all.
There you go. It reminded me of Superman versus Aliens, which was a Dark Horse series, and that had artwork by Kevin Nolan. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Dan Jurgens did the artwork. Kevin Nolan was doing the inking, but it made it feel like a Kevin Nolan book because,
Mhm.
he has very strong inks. But Esad Ribic, that Thor God of Thunder stuff is so good with Jason Aaron. And it's Jonathan Hickman. I'm like, which Jonathan Hickman are we getting? Are we getting like real Jonathan Hickman, or is he just writing this for a paycheck? Like, which Jonathan Hickman are we getting? I don't know. I'm still gonna get that.
Obviously, I'm excited about the X-Men. Certainly the main books.
This one had X-Men, X-Force, NYX, and Phoenix.
I probably will try X-Force. Maybe NYX. Looks like it might be fun. It has some interesting characters in it.
Hmm.
With Phoenix, I don't think I care about.
I'm not like jonesing to read it, but I'm gonna read all the first issues just to see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of a doubt just to see. Now I will say for NYX, Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing are your writers. Francesco Mortarino is your artist. But Kelly and Lansing, I've really been liking their comic books. They're writing the Star Trek book over at IDW, Outsiders at DC, one of the Captain America stories prior to J. Michael Straczynski. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give them a fair shot.
All right, that's cool. That's good. Good to know.
The other one I'm kind of curious about, Namor 1 of 8, Jason Aaron,
Yeah.
Paul
That
Davidson, and Alex Lins.
I saw, a new name or I don't care. And then I saw Jason Aaron. I went, suddenly I care. Like I want to know what he would do with them, right?
And they're saying it's like some kind of redefining story for Namor and Atlantis. And I'm hoping that's true. Like I'm hoping it feels like an ensemble. Meanwhile, he's not even in Atlantis, right? Like he's in prison and on the surface world, and it's about who's gonna rule Atlantis. And I don't know, just everything about it made me think, am I gonna read a Namor book?
Well, and that cover is just like not what you would expect from. It's like he's in the hospital, all
Oh,
bandaged
that
up,
one.
hooked
Yeah,
up to pumps and stuff. That's definitely not what I would thought they would market it.
yeah,
Because the variant is the Alex Malev cover with him like in the water being, you know, Namorish.
right. Where next?
How about DC?
Mm-hmm.
This one thing caught my eye on page 16 from the DC Vault. Death in the Family. Robin Lives #1. It's written by J.M. DeMatteis, art and cover by Rick Leonardi. It's certainly intriguing. I'm not sure if they're going to do more things like what if style down the road, but this is sort of like, we did have like the facsimile edition where they might have included that splash page where Robin was alive, that
Right.
because they had to do 2 editions of that back in the day in case the vote went either way. But this is a whole thing, a whole book about what if Jason Todd lives?
Right.
Interesting.
Along those lines, they're putting out DC Elseworlds collections because DC is all in on Elseworlds right now. They're doing a ton of stuff, like a sequel to Gotham by Gaslight, a sequel to
Really?
yeah, Dark Knights of Steel, which was one that just they're doing a sequel to that story, which came out a couple years ago. What they're doing in the collections here, you have them all in one. So, like the Batman one has Holy Terror, which was the first official Elseworlds. Batman Castle of the Bat, Batman in Darkest Night, where he's a Green Lantern character. The Superman one has Superman Distant Fires, which was good. Superman Inc., which was drawn by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. Superman Speeding Bullets, where he becomes Batman. The Justice League ones are all the same thing. You're like, what if the Justice League were in the Wild West? What if they were vampires? What if they were, all this other stuff? So it's like one-stop shopping. They're $34.99. How many pages? 368 pages. I guess that. Well, no, the Batman one is like 536 pages for that price. Wow. Justice League is like 432 pages for $34.99. So do the math. I don't know what that comes out to. But.
I was going to mention that the trade paperback for the new Wesley Dodds The Sandman miniseries is solicited. I absolutely freaking love that series.
Cool.
That's Robert Venditti writing it, Riley Rossmo on the artwork, which was gorgeous. And it's, 1940s Sandman story. I love Golden Age JSA so much, right? Like the characters, not the actual Golden Age JSA, whatever. But and I hope that DC does more with that. It feels like they're trying to build up a little thing here, and I hope it keeps going because, man, I just want to keep reading it.
Shane wanted to mention Action Comics 1067 with Gail Simone writing for 3 issues because it's kind of like a look back into his early career. And then he also gave a shout out to a facsimile issue for Justice League of America #1, the original first issue, first volume. They're also doing Tales of the Teen Titans number, 44, 43, 44?
44.
44, which is the first appearance of Nightwing and Jericho.
Are they releasing the entire Crisis series as a facsimile edition,
Yeah.
like each issue?
Yeah.
How facsimile are they? I mean, are they updating the art that was in them if there was like a miscoloring or kind of thing?
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe I haven't done the one-to-one because I know they already did
Okay.
that in like collections.
Right,
But
right.
you're
That's why I was
talking
asking.
letter columns, you're talking ads.
Ooh.
It's like a direct facsimile.
Okay.
Are we done with DC or?
I'm actually done with I have one more recommendation. So
Yeah, I have 2 from IDW. The Ninja Turtles jumping on point.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that.
again, Jason Aaron, and that first issue by Joel Jones, and they're rotating artists through those issues.
And then also, this is actually a Clara recommendation, Hunger and the Dusk. It was actually the first comic while she was working at the comic book store that she just looked at on the shelf one day and said, "This looks really cool. I want to buy this." And it's a fantasy story with absolutely gorgeous artwork. And she said the story is really, really good. And so I'm going to borrow her issues and read them because I also love fantasy. And
G. Willow Wilson and Chris Wildgoose is your artist. Yeah, looks great.
yeah, it's really, really nice.
The covers are kind of like fantasy novels almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Any others, Pants? No?
Nope, I'm good. I don't want to be spending more money than I have to. Found a few things of interest.